Hello, welcome to Talk Tuesday. I'm your co-host, Mia Saenz, and your other co-host is Lori Montry. And together we are the creators of the Greatest You Academy, which is a beautiful place to learn about everything within yourself. So many areas of depth. It's really lovely. So today's talk is Radiate Love, Cultivating Self-Love, and Creating a Life that Cherishes You. The term self-love, a life that loves you back, has been following my work since 2010. So it's no wonder that we're coming full circle. Why? Because everyone, after the last 3 years that we all have to get down to basics. We all have to get back to the most important thing. And what is that? Ourselves. So it's really a beautiful way to move into it. And so we're going to talk a little bit about today. And I'm going over my notes because that way it's more fun on my end. We're going to talk a little bit about the transformative power of self-love and how it impacts your overall wellness. We want to talk a little bit about awakening to love. So let's jump in first to the explaining the transformative power of self-love and how it can shift and change you. We know that self-love provides a happiness, a joy, a higher vibration within ourselves. So in that respect, it's really, really important to do your work, to focus in, to allow it to enrich you and nourish you in all of your growing spaces. One day when you actually feel that I've fallen in love with myself, you'll be surprised and you'll be like, wait a minute, is this what all the talk was about? That's really cool. So Lori, what's your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's so, and I really appreciate what you said. So let me just highlight that first. You said, when you get there, you'll realize, oh, that's what this is all about, because it's such an experiential experience, right? That you can't know if you haven't experienced it, you don't know what it is. And so, but I think that we have this beautiful innate guidance system that tells us that it's possible and that it's better over there, right? So we're always reaching for that. And so, but I can definitely appreciate and really want to encourage people who, don't know what it's like, to keep reaching for it, because it really is that place of where your whole life changes, every single aspect, right? Your relationships with others change, and we can talk about that more. But the things that came up for me was, in health, because I work with people, a lot of people who struggle with emotional eating and other types of addictions, helping them understand that, we take care of what we love. And so when you truly love yourself, you want to take care of yourself. And when your actions are based on the love that you have for yourself, as opposed to needing to fix something that's broken or something that's wrong or punish something that's been bad, the motivation makes all the difference in the world in your ability to actually be consistent with the steps that can heal and take you to, you want to go, whether that is, eating better or losing weight or working with chronic health conditions. And so self-love in the health sphere is so important. It's also very important for all of the work as a foundational piece, because when you don't love yourself, that is one of the most threatening, dangerous places to be and to live. So when we lack that self-love, our nervous systems are constantly on high alert, right? The world is a dangerous place if we aren't there taking care of ourselves and loving ourselves, having our back, knowing what our needs are and how to meet them. And it really does affect our nervous systems. And we know that when our nervous system is in survival or on high alert, that we don't learn, we don't grow, we can't form new neural pathways, so we can't change our thinking. Our emotions seem crazy threatening. We don't know how to deal with them, because in survival state, everything is about, how do I get through the next, how do I react? How do I get through the next 2 minutes? Not how do I live into these beautiful, big, beautiful dreams and goals that I have for myself. So loving self, just from these two perspectives, from a health perspective and being able to take care of yourself. And then also for the purpose of your nervous system and being regulated and able to do the work that leads you to the incredible transformation and changes. So those are just, two of, we could probably make a list of 100 things that, self-love really does offer as a foundation, right, to the next level.
Yeah. So it's really beautiful. So the talk, as we've been saying, is about cultivating this self-love, right? Radiate love and cultivating it in your life. So how do you go about that then? So the first step, now you understand what self-love is. The first step would be to awaken to self-love, literally. And what does that look like in your own personal growth to be able to awaken to self-love? It would be something like a journey of self-discovery and to embrace your inherent worth. You are inherently worthy. That's one of the gifts that we get from the divine when our soul comes in here. So why is it so hard for us to move through it? And also, the why isn't as important as stepping through it. So don't spend a lot of time on the why, but begin to move through, as Lori and I have talked about, embracing it. So how would that look like to you? It would look like if you were trying to cultivate a nourishing relationship with yourself. There's many levels, right? There's mirror work, so you can identify who you are and your soul essence. The I love you is part of the mirror work. There's eating well and food to balance that beautiful body that you have. I often talk about how Dr. Moto's theory on water is how we also prepare our food. It's about in love, kindness, so that the molecules of love are produced in our food. And guess what? We're feeding ourselves by eating that love. And how powerful is that? It's really beautiful. And you're an emotional freedom from emotional eating coach. What do you say about that, Lori?
Yeah, about well, when we awaken to self-love, a lot of these pieces that you just mentioned and that we teach in the academy, they're all foundational, and they're all the pieces upon which we can change our relationship with food or our relationship with other, substances or things that we turn to outside of ourselves to help us feel better. And that's not, there's no shame in that. We all do that. We've learned that at some point in our lives, and it was really brilliant as a way to help us survive and cope in those moments. But now as adults, as enlightened beings, we get to look at those and we get to ask ourselves, how is that working for us? Do I like the results of using food to cope? It's not that it's bad. Or using, Netflix or using anything. It's not that any of these things are bad, right? You just get to decide for yourself. Do I like the consequences of this being my way of, providing for myself? And if the answer is no, then you get to decide and get to learn what's the underlying need, or what's the reason, what's the purpose, what do I want the food, the Netflix, the wine, the whatever, what do I want it to do for me? Okay, how do I meet that need in a way that is consistent with the person that I want to be, right? I know I want health. I want to be vibrant. I want my body to match the way I feel inside, right? And that's not what I'm getting by emotionally eating. So let me look at the need that's being met there and meet it in a way that is in alignment with who I want to be. And the really beautiful thing is, not only at that point do you change your relationship with food, but you totally change your relationship with yourself, right? Because you have to, if you want to find out the need and meet it, you have to go into the space of self-love. You have to discover who you are. You have to own and claim your inherent worth, your gifts, what was given to you, right? There's something special that was given to every single one of you. What was it? And how can you just claim that and own it and know what a blessing you are, when you're out in the world. What a blessing you are. When you know that and own it, that is a really important piece of self-love, because when you own that, you're proud of who you are, right? You step out into the world every day, you have purpose, you have joy, you're not afraid of people judging you because you know who you are and you have that connection with your inherent worth, right? I would also add to that, Mia, how do we awaken to self-love? Discovering who we are. Yes, absolutely. We have a whole module on it, right? That is dedicated to understanding that more and more. Owning your inherent worth. Again, we teach that in the academy. I would also say trying to figure out and really get in touch with what are my needs.
Mhm.
And that sounds like such an easy thing, but most of us don't know what our needs are because we've been too busy trying to figure out, who does that person need me to be? Who
Or
does
how to survive, right?
how to survive? Yeah. And so really understanding what our needs are and then owning those needs, because sometimes we recognize them and we're like, well, that's not a good need to have.
Yeah.
That means I'm weak. That means I'm selfish. That means I'm whatever. So I can't have that need, right? So
Right.
we figure them out, we own them, and then we have to learn how to meet them. And you can think about this. This is the same thing we do in relationships with other people. We spend time with them. We get to know them. We understand what their needs are, right? And it's not that we're entirely responsible for them, but if we know that a person that we're in relationship with, really enjoys being, having us reach out to them, on a really regular basis, like me and I, we know what each other's needs are. And sometimes we can even kind of tell, even if we haven't talked in the last couple of days, she'll call me and say, how you doing? You just came on my heart, about this, or something exciting's happening, and you just get to develop such a closeness. And we can certainly do that with ourselves. And I think we think that because we spend every minute with ourselves, that we're connected with ourselves. And that couldn't be farther from the truth, actually.
Right. And so really it's about discovering your authentic voice, right, Lori? That's
Yeah,
exactly what you're talking about.
exactly. Mm-hmm.
And it's really a perfect space, because when you can get to your uniqueness, as Lori started to say in the beginning of this part of it, there's a uniqueness about you that no one else has, and that alone carries beauty. So as we learn to do our own forgiveness and our own opening up, what we're doing is removing the shame and blame and judgments. And that is how we stop it with others too, is by stopping it with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
When you can identify stuff without putting that blame and shame and judgment on yourself, you're a completely different person. You are beginning to radiate love, which is how we cultivate self-love in our life. That is one of the most profound spaces ever, is to be aware of the judging. Because if we can't stop our own inner critic and not be our authentic self, we can't make it, literally. And you may say, well, what does that mean, Mia? If I'm judging, then I'm being authentic. Well, you may be, but you're also not going to have a lot of friends. So it's how do you learn to, it's about learning to heal yourself. And through that, you discover the depths of love on how to treat others, literally.
Mm-hmm. So true. Yeah. And, I just want to highlight, because our conversation keeps coming back to this. And I think it really is, if we could give you all and those on the replay something to really take away and work with, I think it would be this: for you to really explore, what is your gift that you have to offer to the world. And it's such a foundational piece that so much can happen around when you really get clarity on what that is. And the reason why is because, number one, you get to love that. You get to recognize for yourself, oh my God, I'm an incredible being. I am, and I'm just going to use myself as an example, because I think it will really help, bring this kind of abstract idea to some concreteness. I didn't know what my gift was. And I was just trying so many places. Oh, I'm going to be the best student. I'm going to be, the ultimate mom. I'm going to be this. I'm going to be that. Trying to prove myself, trying to feel good about myself, trying to make you like me, trying to make, and I think so many of us have done that, right? And so there was no flow in that, right? It wasn't like I, was really feeling, purposeful and flowing with any of these things, because there was such pressure to figure it out and to, try to get that recognition and to use external circumstances to say, hey, you're doing a good job. And that's never the place where we are living as our greatest selves, creating our greatest life. So once I learned what my gift was, and my gift, which I can be really proud of, and I can say it, and I hope it doesn't come across as being, being boastful or whatever. I say it with all humility, like this was given to me, and I'm so excited that this is my gift. And that's what I find when people really understand what their gift is, they feel the same way. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe I just, So my gift is I have a mirror, right? I am a mirror for the people that that come into contact with me, and I am showing you your greatest version of yourself. When I look at you, that's what I see. I really see the greatest version of you. And when you're with me, and especially if you're working with me, you get to see it too. And it's this is what I have been given to do in the world, and what I just am so proud and so happy that I get to have this as my gift. Now, I get to show up every day. I don't have to do anything. All I have to do is be grateful for this gift and kind of do what I'm in flow with. And that's automatically makes me more and more proficient at expressing my gift. But I don't have to worry about, and if I'm not doing this other thing right or great, who cares? That's not my job. My job is to express my gift.
Yeah.
And so you get to step out of judgment too, because if somebody's judging you, you're like, that's, I know I believe in this, and I know that that's, this beautiful, gorgeous thing. And so I want to just encourage you all to try to get some clarity around that. And the more that you own it and can get that excitement about it and really appreciate that about yourself, the easier it's going to be, the more proficient you're going to become at expressing it. And it's just going to be a delight. It's going to be the way you can find purpose, meaning, and joy in your life. And so it's loving yourself, right? When you can appreciate what you do and what you give to the world. Mia, what would you say your gift
Yeah,
is?
I'm so excited about this, and I also have a little process for you all that's coming through. My greatest gift I recognized when I was young, and I was kind. I was
Mm,
kind, and I watched out for people
yeah.
because I cared. So, in a sense, kindness is love, right? And so most people say to me, you're an amazing expression of love. And of course, again, that's not to be arrogant. It's something that I've worked on. Most of you who have heard us talk or heard me talk over the years, I will say that love is the foundation of who I am. I had to learn it within my own family so that I could survive. I was incredibly depleted in many areas. I couldn't laugh out loud. I was very shy. So being kind and loving is who I am. And so that nurturing. And I also love the effects of the mirror that you talked about, Lori, because to be able to witness someone else, you have to know yourself so well that you become that reflection, right? That's really beautiful. So the idea of who you inherently are comes back to also when you were a young child before all the hooby gooby junk got on you. So what were you when you were young? Were you a writer? Were you an artist? Were you happy? Were you joyous? Were you a sports person? What had your inner being on fire? And so I'd like you guys to spend time today, just a little bit, and consider what that passionate gift is that you are. And it does go back to when you were younger. And you can track it forward or track it backwards. And so when you find that one amazing piece of who you are, everything, one, that's your uniqueness. That's that space that nobody can ever take away from you. People can tell me, you're an arrogant blah, 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 or whatever. Do you think I would believe them? No, because I've always stood in the place of love. If somebody told, it's funny because I was raised Hispanic, and we found out 4 years ago that I'm actually have a different father. So I'm all white. So that I was going to say, if you told me I was a different color, I'd tell you, no, I'm this color. But in reality, I thought I was something different for a long time. So we have to know ourselves so well that nothing can change that fact about who we are, that depth of who we are. No one can ever change that. There are things in this world that no one can ever take from you. And I want you to hear me on this, because this is life-saving. I used to be a hospice nurse, and I've studied humanity since, because when people exit this life, there are things that they haven't done that they need to do. Know who your gifts are, who you are in your gifts. Work on your fear of crossing over. Also work on your fears that come up now. They don't need to be in your life. You need to, and when I say need, it's a loving gift. You need to be in the state of radiant love. You deserve that. It's inherent to you. It's your divine birthright. And you can remove all the human crap that has been layered on us since the moment we were born, all the information from others, everything. What happens when you remove these misbeliefs about yourself? You get to be who you are. It's not like you're hollow anymore. You actually get to feel. I was talking to, I think, Natalia yesterday. Hi, Natalia, on an interview, and I forgot what I was going to say, but it was important. It's about that strength of knowing who you are. When you know yourself to your core, nobody can sway you, nobody can shift you, and that's the most important thing. You've got to know who you are. When my grandmother was passing, this is when I first realized it, about 20 years ago, more than that. Hunter was a baby, so like 26 years ago. When I came to see her in the hospital, she was a profound metaphysician. And she's where I feel I got my metaphysical genius from, my healing gifts, and all of that. So when she was in the hospital and I was talking spiritual truths to her, she said to me, "Your grandfather took all my books away. I can't study anything. I don't know anything." And I said, "Grandma, you are the most powerful individual I ever met, and you have nothing lost. Everything that you are is still within you. All you need to do is recite it, practice it, bring it into your heart, and it will come back." And when I was dealing with cancer, that's what I did. I recited all my stuff that I grew up with, because it served me well to clear out the junk and to remain in the elevated space of, which I call the monk, for 3 years. So we have to clean our stuff away, no matter how young or how old we are. Why? Because we deserve it on an individual basis. It's our inherent right. Divine love provides every human need. And so if that is true, and it can be your truth, if that is true, then what are you missing? Look at that and remove that and replace it with everything that you need, which is in one form, radiant love.
Wow. And Mia, what you're talking about too is, when we're removing the fears, when we're removing the fears of judgment, when we're removing those things, what we're doing also is think about right now, how much of your energy is going into those things? How much of your energy is going into dealing with and processing and trying to recover from, this and this and this, and got your energy spread out all over. So when you call that back to yourself, you have all that energy that you get to put into your gift, right? You may say, well, I kind of have a sense that this is my gift, but I'm not doing it. I'm not, that's not how I'm living. Well, a big reason why is, number one, maybe you're not owning it completely. And number two, maybe your energy, we have a finite amount, and if you're spending it on the fears, spending it on the old patterns, spending it on just not feeling well because you're not, taking care of yourself, or wherever you're spending it, that's energy that you're tying up that could be used towards expressing your gift, which brings more and more and more and more of the things in life that you want, the contentment, the joy, the meaning, the purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's your inherent gift to cultivate this, to live it, to be it, to enjoy it.
Gift, and maybe even, I would say, sometimes responsibility, right? We need you. We need what you have to give. Just like, Mia, we need those gifts. We need those healing. We need that kindness. We need that love. Of course, we need what every single one of you have. I think that when we're created, our creator looks down and is like, okay, here's what's needed right now in the world, puts it in, and, sends us down. So we need that. And so in some level, it's very much a responsibility as well to bring that to fruition.
And did you know that self-love, along with all the works that, well, I'll be outright and say it, all the works we do in the academy literally can change the structure, even it becomes biological change within your mind. I used to be deemed bipolar, and the reason I'm not is because I've taken this work to heart since 2001, and it has become me. And when I've had to speak with psychiatrists at times because of the cancer and stuff, and they said, wow, from your history, it's amazing you're not on medication. And I said, I haven't been on medication since 2001, and I've never had an episode since. It's because I've dug into the magnificence of me. I've dug into everything that enriches me. I've gotten rid of the fear. And I know that I can do it and stay balanced. Now, nobody go off your medicine without talking to your doctor. Okay? I'm not saying jump off the cliff and let your medicine go. Don't do that. But know that if you dig in deep, you can change the structure of your mind, of your heart, of your cells, of your actual being. And that is what makes us unique and special. We are so valuable as humans. This is our gift. This is our superpower.
Yeah. And Mia, I'll just say, one of the things I loved about you when I met you many years ago was that she would talk openly about the magnificence of me. She said that out loud. Who's doing that? And I loved it so much. And I, I think we all aspire to own our magnificence. And that is such a big takeaway from this conversation today, knowing truly how magnificent every single one of you are. And when you clear away whatever is standing in your way and clear up that energy and allow yourself to channel that energy into your greatest gifts and your magnificence, we all benefit, and especially you, right?
I'd like to share just a really quick story. And yes, I do share my story so that people can understand that they can transform too. At 9/11, I did go into a facility for 5 weeks because I could not believe that this country, no matter what your thoughts are on 9/11, it doesn't matter. It's the fact that an individual, me, and the rest of the world were traumatized. And so every day, the head of the facility, the head psychiatrist, would come into my group and say, Mia, because I was just there for depression and early childhood PTSD. And so, there were a lot of people there for sex addiction and drugs and alcohol and all that. So every day she would come in and she'd say, Mia, did you know you're a miracle? And I'd say, but we're all miracles. And so it got really annoying. You know, we had weekends that she wouldn't come in, but those 5 days a week, it was really annoying. And I didn't like being looked at. But what I want to share is it got me to look at my own magnificence, literally. And it took over 2 years. I'm a slow person, but I do all the work all the time. And I listened to a CD about a song about magnificence, and it would start to make me cry because I was like, what if I could be magnificent? What would that be like? And so to open up this hard rock that I was, it took prying, it took practice, it took commitment.
Yes, it
And
does.
then when I opened, everything was different. So you're not any different than I am, and I'm not any different than you are. It takes self-commitment to understand a new programming. And then once you get started, you fly. Because once you know the practices and the tools, everything starts to be like a domino effect. It starts to open, 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 open. Then it might slow a bit and then open, 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 open. So the point about this is that you have to commit to yourself and find something exciting. Work on that early childhood greatness of who you were and start with that. Nobody can take away that I wasn't a kind person because I worked my life at being kind when I was younger. All right.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. And it does take effort, right? Showing up here, we do want to congratulate you guys because it shows that you have a commitment. Self-love, you saw in the title. I want that. And that's why you're here. So that is beautiful. And I congratulate you and appreciate that. And now I invite you to actually work with it and to integrate it. Just like Mia said, she worked every day. And I am also stubborn when it comes to, you know, setting my mind on something that I want and achieve. And it does take work and effort, but it's so worth it. And while you're doing the work, you are building that relationship with yourself, just like you would be with another person, spending time together, getting to know you. So it's work, and it's also really beautiful connection and a gift to yourself. So we definitely encourage you to take this information and work with it over the week.
Absolutely. Thank you all for joining us, and remember to join the Facebook group, The Greatest You Revolution.
I would love to see anybody who is brave enough to own their gifts and to share that on the Facebook page. We would love to see that. And what a celebration, right? If we could get 20, 30 people to own their greatness, give some others permission to do the same.
Yeah, very beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you for standing for that, Mia, in the world.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to turn off the recording, everyone.
Okay.